So, let's talk about mining, shall we? A Marid Crusher. You know how the Foliat Crusher was, it was sort of like the weakest kind of crusher. Well, this crusher, the Marid Crusher, which I have a book of binding for a Marid, so I might as well summon it, but the Marid Crusher is the strongest, I think, here. Let me see if I can pull one up. Yeah, here we go. It says a Foliat Crusher, a Genie Crusher, an Aphrid Crusher, and a Marid Crusher. And ooh, this Marid Crusher is it will crush one ore into 6 corresponding dusts. Hopefully, they mean what they say when they. This thing means what it says when it says this. And the pentacle here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2 plus 1 equals 15. It requires a 15 by 15 space. Not to mention lots of red chalk, which I have. 4 wither skeleton skulls, which I also have. 4 skeleton skulls, which I also have. 8 candles, which, well, duh. However, wait a second. The pentacle I used was Abra's Open Conjure to summon the Aphrid. What else can it... Nope, that's about it. I'm wondering, what about Abra's Closed Conjure? Now, Abra's Conjure can safely summon an Aphrid. And you can do weather magic or Aphrid Crushers. Interesting. There were some weather-related quests around here, so you know what I ought to do? I ought to see what the similarities and differences are between those two. Like what I have to erase and what I have to replace with what, and then if those two pentacles aren't too different from each other, I might as well get these two weather-related quests done now, because there are quests for here we go. Rainy, thunderstorm, and to clear it. Although to clear the weather you need Ophix's Calling, which is a completely different ritual. I guess I ought to use it next time it rains. Let me see. Before I do anything, though, I see that creeper. I'm going to exterminate it. I don't want any creepers interfering with my magic. Okay, let's see. Abras's Conjure. Thunderstorm, raining weather. What do I have to change? Okay, so it looks like all I really need to do is change these runes around. How durable is this, by the way? 128, just like the rest. Well, as long as I have enough durability to summon a whatchamacallit, a stable Aphrid, one that won't try and torch me and hit me with lightning and summon blazes to burn this place down. I'm pleasantly surprised that tree didn't catch on fire. Oh, that would have been a disaster if it had. I like this tree. Alright. Let's talk thunderstorms. I need to sacrifice a cow. And summon an Aphrid. Why are there 2 of these? Although... I guess if I can't do one, I can do the other. It needs a gas tier, but I not only have gas tiers, but I could theoretically get more of them using by summoning a possessed ghast and immediately shooting it like I did that one episode, which was kind of an anticlimax, but well, frankly, I've always been a hair leery of summoning ghasts in the overworld. Because in the nether, you need a second tier too. In the nether, you have an upper limit. The nether is like a big cave. And the big cave has a big ceiling. Here, the sky is literally the limit. Yeah, you've heard that phrase before. So, a ghast in the overworld is capable of sailing around without... Oh, wait a minute. One of these is for rainy weather and the other is for... How do I get a dead bush? Second thought, strike that. I think I know how you can get a dead bush. I just don't like the... Wait a minute. What if one of these has Silk Touch? Do I have that on any of my... Because I think when you harvest a dead bush, you get sticks. Or... No, I got an even better idea than that. Let me check my... these books here. In theory, I should be able to make a book for Silk Touch. And then... equip it? No. Okay. In that case... Well, there is a way, but it's with a different mod. What about this? You know, given the amount of antimatter I've been working with, and the amount of fuel I have here, and everything I've found out about running this plant, including what does and doesn't decay, I think it's about time for another addition to my mecha tool. So here's what I'm going to do. Let us all cross our fingers. Okay, have a look at this. This plant is now operating at its maximum possible capacity. Now, right now... Wait a second. Oh, I didn't know it was light enough for this. Alright. So the burn rate is pretty quick. I've got enough sodium in there to keep everything nice and stable as at the maximum amount. This thing makes kind of a funny noise, so what I'm going to do is listen for it. Second thought, forget what I said. And now that that's done, I can finish... There we are. I can continue making antimatter, which I have a pretty substantial amount of, because there's something else that I've been planning for, like, ever. And yet I never got the chance to... It takes even more antimatter... Let me see if I already have some diamond pickaxes. Even more antimatter than the last thing I built with antimatter was the... oh, I forget what it's called. I'll just call it a transmogrifier because that's what it does. But it turns regular skeleton skulls into wither skeleton skulls. That's its main selling point right now. Let me just put all these soul gems back. Huh. Did not know that was possible. Alright. So, we are diving back into Mekanism just for a bit, just to make the Silk Touch unit. It needs reinforced glowstone. I don't think I've ever shown anybody this before. back in Mechanism, we had, I think it was reinforced obsidian. Well, reinforced glowstone operates on roughly the same principle. How much osmium do I have? I think I mined some of it up at some point, but I can't remember how much. Ah, whatever, I'll just use this thing. Assuming, of course, that I still have some left in this region. Yeah, apparently I dug them all out at some point, so I'm going to have to move on a little. Put this somewhere else. I'm doing that a lot, like taking a particular region and exhausting it completely out of a particular resource, usually uranium, sometimes fluorine. No, fluorite. Never osmium, but there cannot possibly be 2,100 and however many that was units of osmium in this area. I thought so, yeah. Sometimes it starts ignoring the filter. Maybe I'll stop when one of these two gets to a full stack. Then I'll run it through my assembly, thing that can quintuplicate ores. Well, it's doing this. Yeah, none of this is really hard. I mean, I did learn kind of late that you can use 3 high-density polyethylene in an enrichment chamber and come up with a sheet. And what else? Just the diamond pickaxes and some reinforced alloy. Reinforced alloy isn't all that hard, though. This is running a bit slower, but I made some adjustments to the speed of my production line. There we go, much better. And I figured it wasn't entirely necessary to dig up ores that fast, you know what I mean? So I'm going to just take some of these. And start running them through here. And that should get me like 80 osmium. That ought to be enough, at least for now, but if anything else unexpected shows up. And out of that 80, I'm probably only going to need like 9 or 10, maybe 11 to get the reinforced glowstone. I also hooked up these ultimate chemical tanks down here. They're about even in terms of hydrogen chloride, gas, and oxygen. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the entire purpose of this is to make uranium oxide for fissile fuel and biological extension. Oh, hi. Uranium hexafluoride. Or, not uranium hexafluoride, sorry. Hydrofluoric acid. This is going to take a bit, so I'm going to take this gunpowder, which I didn't know I had, and put it here. Take this nether wart, put it here, and to make it rain, I need to go and wait. Do I really need? No, just sand. I guess I just need sand and cactus. Well, I have both. I planted some cacti in order to make green ink. Harvesting one of these ought to be enough. Must have been a fifth one of these. Yeah, there we go. Then the sand is also real simple. Let's just get it off here. So now all I need is that dead bush. And to get it, I need to go to a place where there's dead bushes and take it out using Silk Touch. How's this doing? Okay, looks like it's sampling right along. There we go. Refined glowstone ingots. 9 of them, you get a block. So that's that. Clear out some room here. Alright, what else? High density polyethylene. I think I planned on making a lot of these modules. I'm going to take the bronze nuggets, some tin right here. Come up with 2 module bases. I only need 1. And what about... Yeah, I forget what I was doing, but I did have some extra reinforced alloys. Diamond pickaxes. And there you have it. Now... how does this go again? Okay, so it's got a couple of escalation units, and now I got Silk Touch. So now what I'm going to do is go to the place with the dead bushes in it. Now that is a relatively far away area, which I can't seem to display. Here we go now. Yeah, it's way over there. It's like 1,200 and something. So I guess I'll meet you over there. So you can't get dead bushes using Silk Touch. And believe me, I've tried. But there is a way of getting dead bushes, and that's to wash them, which I take it means putting some water before this fan and then throwing red sand into it, and there's like a 5% chance you'll get a dead bush. I forget what... I don't remember what the percentage chance is that you get a that you get gold nuggets. I think it's higher than that though. So I took 100. So I took 128. 128 blocks of red sand. Theoretically, I should only need 20 if there's a 5% chance to get a dead bush. Is it doing any... Of course not. Why would it? Hold on a minute. Do I have a create manual? If I do, then I can find out what exactly Wait a minute. No, I got a better idea. So you put a water source block there. So I had the water source in the wrong place. What is this thing doing on dry land? I had to take out all the other modules in my my mecha tool. Or at least I thought I did. In order to get Silk Touch, but while I was trying to figure that out, I found out what was stopping me using my mecha tool to its maximum potential. This thing has the maximum amount of attack amplification and excavation escalation units in it. If I were to press this key here, I can add a maximum of attack damage, maximum of efficiency. I'm not exactly sure what these do. However, now I got 37 attack damage, which is much better than the 13 that I'd been getting. Let me see. Maybe iron bars will work. Ah, look at that. Oh boy. Yeah, and okay, I'm trapped. I can't. Okay. And yeah, it looks like you don't need to take everything out using to use Silk Touch. That's something I didn't know. I guess I'll have to take Silk Touch out. But anyway, so that's 20 of them right there. The majority of what I get, I think, should be gold nuggets. Let me just get this. Okay, yeah, I did get some dead bushes. Yeah, more than one. Well, that's a relief. Maybe this was overkill, but okay, back to the whole ritual thing. Let me see how many books I have already that involve Afrits. I don't have any more. Well, just means I'll have to put one together. Oh, P.S. I was trying to debug that one bug where the achievement for getting a familiar wouldn't register, and I tried summoning a different familiar. I think a parrot, because the parrots, they give you his company. I mean, there's a chance you'll get a chicken instead, but after going through a couple of chickens, I got my parrot. The problem is it still didn't do anything. Alright. So to make an effort book, you need purple dye. Now I know how to get blue dye you can get using lapis lazuli. Red dye you need red flowers. But more than that, you need to be able to use the flowers efficiently. So let me just over here and I'm going to go grab a red flower and then run it through the crusher. And that should produce, instead of the one red dye that you get for ordinarily, it should give me 3 maybe? Then I'll take some lapis lazuli on the way for blue dye. Oh, and I got some ink out of that too. And more red dye than I thought I was going to get. Okay, there we go. So because I got black ink, I'm going to... Maybe I think I ought to toss that into the spiritual fire and get some more purified ink. Like that. And then there's my purple dye. Make another effort book. And yeah, both of these need bound efforts, so I will bind them. And finally, for both, I need to sacrifice a cow. Fortunately, I know where there are cows. And I've got enough soul gems to grab 2 of them, so I can perform one ritual right after the other.